My boss stole my work, so I exposed him in front of everyone. Ooh. All right, so the title of this is Am I the Jerk for Correcting My Boss in front of the entire company during an all-hands meeting where he presented my work as his own idea, and I just couldn't let it happen again. This was posted in Am I the Jerk? I want to be clear that I am normally a very non-confrontational person. I eat lunch at my desk. I say no worries at all when there are, in fact, several worries. I do that too. There were, in fact, worries. I am, in fact, worried. I once apologized to a revolving door. Same, mannequins as well. Confrontation is not my thing, which is why what I did last Tuesday surprised even me. Some background. Set the scene! Interior office night. I've been at my company for 3 years. My boss, Marcus, has a pattern, and I say pattern because this is documented in my own private notes going back 18 months of taking ideas discussed in one-on-ones and presenting them to leadership as his own thinking. Never maliciously maybe, just conveniently forgetting to mention where the ideas originated. I've let it go every time because I'm non-confrontational and also because I need this job. Here's the thing, depending on if you have a contract with this company, technically your ideas are theirs, right? But I feel like in ownership, it's different than whether or not you came up with the idea. And I think credit should be due where it's due. Last Tuesday was our quarterly all hands. 400 people on a video call. Marcus is presenting the new client retention strategy, a strategy I spent 6 weeks developing, that I presented to him in a detailed document with my name on it. And he responded to with,
"Interesting. Let me think about this."
Oh, that's almost more offensive to me. You know, that he doesn't immediately give you your kudos and he's like,
"Oh yeah, I guess that's interesting. I'll think about it."
And then presents the ideas as his own. Oh no, absolutely not. Apparently, he thought about it. And then he presented every single element of it, word for word, as his own original thinking, including a specific metaphor I invented. My metaphor about lighthouses. I will not elaborate, but it was a good metaphor and it was mine.
There are many like it, but this one is mine.
And something in me just snapped. I typed in the chat, calmly and professionally, "Thanks for sharing, Marcus. Happy to walk everyone through the research behind this since I put the framework together over the past 6 weeks. I can share the original document in the channel afterward." Okay, I love that. I kind of love that. You are calling him out, but you're not doing it in a disrespectful manner. He will take it as disrespect. 400 people saw it. 3 people immediately reacted with a little clapping emoji, which I felt both validating and terrifying. Marcus finished the presentation without acknowledging my comment. Ooh. Afterward, he called me and said I had blindsided him. Blindsided. I mean, you didn't introduce any new information. You just made him look like an idiot because he should have been giving you your kudos to begin with. And that if I had concerns, I should have raised them privately. I mean, I would argue that he shouldn't be taking credit for other people's work, regardless of whether or not a company owns the IP, it's called, the intellectual property. Just from someone who has, intellectual property, and I have employees that work for me. Employees sign contracts where they sign off the intellectual property to me or to my company. It's pretty standard, right? I've also been in situations where I've signed contracts and I've come up with amazing ideas. And because that company owns the IP for literally the rest of eternity, that company still uses their IP, passing it off as, their own IP when it was in fact my idea. It's pretty standard industry practice, but again, we're also paying people for those ideas. What I will say that as a boss, I always give credit where it's due. I give bonuses when the particular idea leads to income, additional income that it generates. You always give credit.
Will that be cash or credit?
I mean, you don't want like to create animosity. Everybody should get credits where it's due, and like it's the human thing to do. When you see an actor go up and accept like a Best Actor award at the Oscars, yeah, thank me, unless you're Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
I thank myself. I'm great.
Yeah, I deserve this.
They're always thanking all the people that helped them get to where they are, because it really is like a group effort, right? It shows humility, it shows that you're a team player, and it shows that you give credit where it's due. HR has been CC'd on some emails. The word documentation has been used by multiple parties. My work friends think I'm a hero. I bet you anything they had the same thing happen. My mom thinks I'm about to get fired. I mean, okay, I get why you did it. I just think, like, obviously he's an a-hole. Like, your boss is definitely an a-hole. I get why you did it, though. I don't think you did it in, like, a disrespectful manner, essentially saying, like, hey, he's taking credit for my work. You're telling everybody that. You're just adding to the conversation. Depends what the company policies are. You could have talked to him first. I don't regret what I said. I regret that it took me 18 months to say it. But I'm also aware that there were 400 people on that call, and maybe a direct message would have been more of a professional move. Yeah, a direct message would have been, because like you don't necessarily know all the time that people are doing these things like maliciously, right? It could have slipped his mind, even though it probably didn't. There's so many instances, I feel like, where bosses take credit for their employees' work and stuff. Again, you're also being paid to do that work. I think it could have been possible for you to message him or to talk to him about it. It's a difficult conversation to have, honestly. It's just like, hey, like, I feel like you could have been, maybe put it in writing. Hey, like, love the presentation. Really happy that my ideas resonated with you, both personally and professionally. I would love it if the next time you present my ideas or when you send out the materials to the company, my name is at least on the materials, or you like acknowledge that this was the work that I did. I think honestly, either way, I feel like he's not gonna take it well, but like it covers your bases, you know what I mean? Am I the jerk for publicly reclaiming credit for my own work, or should I have stayed quiet for the 400th time? I don't think that you should have stayed quiet at all. I think that this is definitely something that you could have brought up with him. 400 people on the call though, I'm not saying that you weren't right to do what you did. I'm just worried about how that could blow back on you, both personally and professionally. His actions were deliberate, yours were justified. And you have your notes. Report to HR exactly what was going on and make it clear you have proof. If you're not getting any document with them, consider talking to an employment lawyer. Yeah, I would be curious about like what grounds they have to stand on to fire you. I don't know if they would fire you for this particular thing. I think that they could probably make your life a little difficult and make you want to quit. I also love that you've been taking notes. Here's an important note. I don't think an employment lawyer will do anything other than cost OP money. It's not illegal to take credit for your employees' work. Yes.
That's how most jobs work.
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying, right? When you work for a company, unfortunately, that intellectual property, you're being paid to come up with that intellectual property, right? And you normally sign off that intellectual property. It would have been nice for him to give you credit, and I think a good boss would do that. I don't know if he did anything illegal, but I'm not a lawyer. I would argue that you would get fired if you brought it to him privately. If he fires you now, it would look like he's doing it because you claimed your own work in front of everybody, which would make him look petty and discourage anyone from presenting their work to him in the future. That's a very good point. Honestly, he's an a-hole. Here's the thing. If someone is doing something that's a-hole-ish, it doesn't really matter how you address it to them. You could be like the nicest person ever. You could, have all the filler and like do the professional thing and be like, hey, like, love the presentation.
Oh, wait, like, didn't even like try. It was just like improv and
Oh my god, why can't you just take the freaking compliment?
But if you're setting a boundary with that person, they're gonna get defensive, regardless of how you do it, in my opinion. Not the jerk, you might get fired, but it's probably worth it. If you're lucky, Marcus will get fired. Do I wish that you handled it a little differently? I mean, you could have tried that. Do I think it would have changed the circumstance? Like, no, I don't. So, in my opinion, you're not the jerk. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and this channel,
I'd appreciate it if you subscribe. I like that very much. Thanks.
am I the a-hole for telling my coworker, you're just offended because you're flat? after she said that a customer looks like a stripper for wearing a sports bra. Ooh. So, I work at a Pilates studio. Ooh. And one of my coworkers was talking about how inappropriate it is that this girl was wearing a sports bra. What? What do you mean? Inappropriate. Here's the thing about Pilates studios. I recently switched my workout to do Pilates. Most of the women at these Pilates studios are wearing cutesy little aloe sets most of the time with a bra. And they do that because I've just noticed that this is generally a type of exercise that's very female forward.
This is a safe place.
Listen, people can wear whatever they want to the gym, but I feel like when it's a female kind of oriented space, one should feel comfortable in wearing sports bras or cute little workout sets. You're just around a bunch of women and it gets warm and you get sweaty and whatever. I pointed out that everyone else is wearing sports bras and she's just being sexualized because she has big boobs. There it is. I feel like people with big boobs get sexualized regardless of what they wear. Big old bitties, tig old bitties do be making people uncomfortable. I'm not saying they make me uncomfortable. But it's interesting how someone with that's well endowed can wear a sports bra and people just stare and make comments when someone who doesn't have that won't get the same attention. And it's also interesting, if you want a little bit of insight into YouTube as well. I've known people who are well endowed in that department who have to crop their chests out of their thumbnails because YouTube's algorithm sexualizes women with big breasts, and they will demonetize videos based on thumbnails where the woman has a larger chest, or take down the thumbnail. It's not necessarily a human that does it every time, but she actually resorted to cutting them out altogether because it was more YouTube liked that more. Isn't that interesting? She really got upset at this and couldn't believe that I didn't see anything wrong with it. Well, yeah, why does that bother you? Does it bother you when women breastfeed in public? Who cares? They're boobs. Get over it.
They're fine. It's just boob in there.
We debated back and forth for a bit, and she told me she looks like a stripper. And it's distracting to everyone else in the studio. Most of the people in that studio are probably women. If you can't wear a sports bra to a Pilates studio, where the can you wear it? I told her she doesn't look like a stripper and the sports bra is clearly her size and she just has cleavage because she has boobs. She basically said her outfit is disrespectful to others and the double standard exists for a reason.
Sounds a little like jealousy.
Wow, this person has absolutely no business working at a Pilates studio if that's how she feels about women, bombastic side eye. This is where I effed up. I told her it might stem from jealousy that she's probably offended because she's flat. And she told me that was incredibly rude. Why is it rude for you to point out her lack of endowment, but it's not rude for her to point out someone that's well endowed in that chest department? There is a double standard there. I think I don't like body shaming in any respect, but to me, it's if you're gonna throw stones, you better not be living in a glass house. I just don't think it's fair to consider someone's outfit inappropriate just because they're curvy. If a skinny girl was wearing it, they would have nothing to say. I've dealt with comments like that a lot in my life, so I guess it just really triggered me. Just because someone has double D's doesn't mean their outfits are spicy. It's a workout studio. Everyone wears sports bras. No, completely agree. And furthermore, it's probably a female-oriented workout space where women go there probably to feel safe, probably to look cutesy and be with the girlies and get their dream bodies and stuff and not be judged by men or hit on and man, so rude. My coworkers' opinions are mixed, but I feel like most of them are on her side. I don't know, I feel like a B word for telling her that she's flat, but I really don't like commenting on women's bodies. But she did it first, so I'm not sure if it's justified. Edit, just wanted to add the reason I said that is because she said I could wear that because I have nothing to show.
As the saying goes, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
So I kind of agreed, but yeah, it was mean. I also did apologize afterwards because I knew I shouldn't have said that, but she hates me now. I appreciate that you apologized. I do think it's interesting that there is a double standard. She said it first. I'm picturing her kind of saying like,
Well, when I wear that, like, it's fine because I don't have, like, a chest.
yeah, you're right, you don't. Just blank stare. In all honesty, like, I genuinely feel if this client knew that the coworker was saying all of this stuff, that could be very bad for her. Just saying. Isn't it sexual harassment for employees to be talking about customers' boobs? That's my point. She was deaf in the wrong, but next time I would recommend against your rebuttals because not only can a customer hear you and report you both, but you can be reported by the coworker for talking about her chest. OP responded, it definitely should be taken seriously, but the management is horrible. This was literally in front of the manager. Ooh. She won't report me, but even if she did, I don't care. She's the one with something to lose. She's in her mid-40s and does this as a career. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just facts. I'm 18. This is my part-time job while I'm in college. I really don't love that the manager didn't shut that down, like, immediately. Honestly, that's awful. Like, a paying client and you're judging what they wear. Give me a break. You're judging people's bodies and, like, what they wear when they work out. Like, unless someone is wearing, like, tassels and a G-string, like, it's whatever. It's a female-oriented space, and people are gonna wear what they wanna wear, and it gets sweaty in there. Lord knows. I know it gets sweaty in there. So, do I feel like you're the a-hole? I do wish that maybe you came at it from a more... Honestly, I don't feel that it's appropriate to make comments about our clients' bodies. I don't think that that's very professional. I think it's always better to approach these situations from, like, you know, a patronizing but, like, professional way, as opposed to then resorting to body shaming. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of body shaming in any respect. Sometimes it's like, well, you're body shaming, so I'm gonna body shame. If this was just like you and your like friend, and like go off, right? But like in a professional capacity, I think any comments on people's bodies, clients' bodies, your coworker, your boss's bodies, I would just prefer that you didn't. But I'm gonna go with not the a-hole because I'm proud of you. You're young and I'm proud of you for sticking up for another woman.
We need to stick together.
So, not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for telling my coworker I was miscarrying after she tried to get me in trouble for excessive bathroom use? Honestly, this brings back memories. I used to work somewhere where we had to like log our bathroom breaks. The micromanagement was strong with that one. I, female 26, have a coworker, Mary, whose main goal at work is to get the rest of us in trouble. Ugh, one of those, eh? I hate that because like almost always in any capacity, when you are that kind of employee and you're trying to get other people in trouble, why are you doing that?
You're just bad at your job.
Because like this company would probably get rid of you with a moment's notice. You are replaceable, okay? That's just how I feel.
Mind your business, that's all. Mind your business.
And it'll be interesting when the like tables turn and then they're the ones in trouble, but I digress. Today, I was apparently the target. When I got back from lunch, my boss asked me to talk and explain how a coworker had explained that I had excessive bathroom use and she and the other coworkers had to pick up my slack. Excessive was 10 minutes in the 4 hours before lunch, and I took 40 minutes for lunch instead of the 30 we were supposed to. Anyone that's being like weird about a woman using the bathroom, like I can't even count how many times your flowers come at work and you could possibly have some sort of accident. There's plenty of explanations for a woman needing to use the bathroom for a little bit longer than usual. I feel like that's already just weird that they're like micromanaging your bathroom use. Mary's a woman. I'm sure she's been in situations where she's had to use the bathroom because something happened. I was 8 weeks pregnant when I started miscarrying on Tuesday and called in sick to work. I was off yesterday since I'm working Saturday, but decided to come into work today to try and use work to distract myself instead of sitting at home wallowing. I'm really sorry to hear, by the way. That's horrible. And it's really that you were even like forced to bring that up because someone was trying to get you in trouble. I would have loved to see the look on her face though. I ended up explaining the situation to my boss to end the conversation. She apologized to me and offered me a couple of days off, but I wanted to be at work to distract myself. After the meeting, Mary was looking extremely smug, clearly thinking she had gotten me in trouble, and I was so angry. So I told her, sorry if she was so distracted by me being away from my desk for 20 minutes, but since I was miscarrying, I figured it was fine. Mary looked shocked, but didn't speak or even look at me for the rest of the day. I genuinely wish that I had seen her face. Like, it sucks that you had to bring it up, but like, her. I hope that she learned her lesson to mind her own business. After work, a coworker I'm friendly with said, while I'm technically right and Mary was completely out of line, I shouldn't have said anything, knowing it would create an uncomfortable work environment. Like, let's keep that same energy for Mary, who also makes the work environment uncomfortable. If you want to find a way to completely ruin productivity at work, start micromanaging people. Because instead of worrying about the work that they get paid to do, they're gonna start gathering evidence and being upset on their computers and, behind your back and not doing the work. Speaking from experience, if you want a surefire way to build resentment in the workplace, micromanage people. Does Mary even have the right to be complaining about stuff like this? Like, she's not your direct superior, so I don't get how that's any of her business. I don't feel like I did anything wrong, and if Mary wants to micromanage everything, she should expect uncomfortable situations to arise. But I also get that Mary isn't the only coworker this gets uncomfortable for, and I don't want to make things hard for my coworkers I actually get along with. Mary needs to take several seats, okay? This sounds very toxic. So, am I the a-hole for telling Mary I was miscarrying when she tried to get me in trouble and making things uncomfortable at work? Mary already makes things uncomfortable at work. The general toxic work environment where everybody's afraid of people telling on them, and that doesn't sound like a place where I would want to go every single day. And most of the time, places like that have a very high turnover rate because people are like, that, I don't have to deal with that. OP edited, thanking everyone for the well wishes and condolences. I also saw a lot of people think my boss asked me to talk to get me in trouble, but that's not true. She knew I had called in sick a couple of days before and wanted to check in if I was feeling okay to be at work or if I needed more time and wanted to go home instead. A lot of people also asked if I told my coworkers, and no, I only told my boss and Mary, but we do have an open layout office, so you could definitely have overheard my conversation with Mary. For the people who wondered what I do for work, I work at an advertising agency. I do mostly photo and video, and the day this happened, I was doing prep for a shoot I have this week. I'm not currently collaborating with Mary on any projects, so I don't know what slack she could be picking up. Ugh, whatever. I highly doubt that she's picking up any slack. I just think it's like,
He gets a break, I want a break, me.
mind your own business. So your coworker, not Mary, thinks you're right, but you should have done more to make things comfortable? Screw that. You miscarried. Mary deserves to be uncomfortable. She's a busybody who needs to mind her own business. If she's uncomfortable at learning the reason you abuse the bathroom policy, side note, what the is a bathroom policy? What the actual are you talking about? Let people take a I think the only way that you can get upset about someone using the bathroom, and it's only the boss, by the way, that can be is if you're in the bathroom, literally an hour of every day. You're getting paid, essentially, to be in the bathroom and do all, or if you've been caught in the bathroom doing, being on your phone, or taking excessive breaks and stuff like that, and it's starting to piss people off, and it's time theft at that point, right? But if it's 10 minutes here and there, especially as a woman, forget about it. And even as a man, I used to work with this guy that had he literally had Metamucil on his desk. And this guy would take sometimes half an hour long bathroom breaks. And people did start to talk about it, but he has issues down there, okay? Constipation. I'm sure he'd rather not be sitting on the toilet for that long, but the guy has Metamucil on his desk, okay? Yeah, I don't think any bathroom policy should exist. That's so stupid. Okay, so if she's uncomfortable learning the reason you abuse the bathroom policy, then she shouldn't have ran to the boss. If I was a manager and I had an employee like Mary that had a clear history of reporting their coworkers over things, unless those things were criminal acts or major violations of company policy or the law, such as safety violations, then I'd be firing Mary. Totally. Because this person is creating a hostile work environment. You are affecting productivity when you're this kind of person. I can tell you from personal experience, when I was being micromanaged, I spent more time screenshotting, writing notes, gathering evidence than I was actually doing my job. I can take criticism, but when it's repeated criticism over stupid things, I take it super, super personally. And I think about it all the time. And I'm dealing with this, even with my driving, I'm taking driving lessons. Yes!
Finally!
And like sometimes my driving instructor will give me feedback and I have a hard time separating and thinking about something like, what I need to be doing, which is driving, because I'm too worried about the negative feedback. So speaking from experience, micromanaging other employees and creating a hostile work environment does more harm than good, and it will directly affect productivity. If nothing else, given what OP told the manager about why she'd been in the bathroom so much, I'd be terminating Mary for that because she's harassing and trying to police someone going through medical issues. That's a very good point. And I'd actually argue it's not a medical issue, but a medical emergency. Okay, so first of all, she didn't know. So I don't know how far you could take that realistically because Mary didn't know. She kind of just thought that like OP was just using the bathroom. But if it continues with Mary knowing what she knows, then it becomes like workplace harassment and like discrimination and all those other things. But I digress. I agree completely, but I also believe offices should not have bathroom policies anyway. We're not in grade school and need a pass to go to the restroom. That part. Literally that part. We are adults and sometimes our bathroom needs change day to day, even without a trauma such as OP's. That's why I'm saying it's like, you don't really know what's happening, okay? Like someone's at work from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and like there are like bowel movements and like embarrassing things that happen. Why is a bathroom break anybody's, like what if the person is like puking? What if they feel like nauseous? What if they've had an accident or something and they need to like clean their clothes? Get the fuck out of here, okay? It could have been a bad breakfast, too much coffee, IBS, a really heavy menstrual cycle, or a UTI. You shouldn't have to explain that to everyone. And that's the thing, right? Because it is so embarrassing to have to talk about it. Like, why are you micromanaging the bathroom breaks? Why are you asking people why they're in the bathroom? That's none of your business. So you shouldn't have to explain to anyone. If you are working and handling your responsibilities 20 minutes away from your desk in a day would never require other people to pick up the slack. That's literally insane. Would it be different if there were 4 5-minute bathroom breaks in an hour day or 10 2-minute ones? Yeah, it just gets really stupid. Mary can suck it.
I guess you can dare a lick my balls, Capitan.
Some people are saying, you didn't have to tell you were miscarrying. I think you did. I absolutely think you did. And maybe that'll teach her a lesson. Am I the a-hole for telling my coworker I was miscarrying after she tried to get me in trouble for excessive bathroom use? No. This next one is from the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. Warning, mentions of medical conditions related to childbirth. Am I the a-hole for snapping at my coworker about why I don't want kids? Hey lovelies, sorry if this is written weirdly. I'm on mobile and this is a throwaway account because I, 24 female, work in a very niche field. So I'm going to be using fake names for the sake of anonymity. Plus, I know my friends gobble up Reddit like a coffee addict at Starbucks. So before I get into the steaming tea, let me warm the kettle with some context. I genuinely don't want children. Ooh, controversial. There is an increasing number of women that feel the way you do. While I'm more than happy to babysit, the idea of the entire pregnancy process and raising a child 24/7 sounds like a full-on nightmare to me. I mean, listen, you're not wrong. Like, I think that it can be very, very, very difficult. The girl with the list, that girl that compiles all the crazy things that happen to you when you're pregnant or you have children.
Hi, I'm the girl with the list, and this is reason 345 not to have kids.
I feel like the narrative that our mothers taught us is this
The most wonderful thing in the world.
it can be pretty hard. It's like, it's not that great in some ways. Everyone always says the same things. My child is the light of my life and I'm so grateful to have them, but there's always a but, I agree that having kids can be a beautiful thing for the right people. And if that's what someone wants, good for them. I know deep inside that isn't the life I want and it wouldn't be fair to a child. That's totally fair. I get why you feel what you feel. This is the serious part. Even if I wanted to have any bio kids, I've been told by several doctors it's basically impossible for me to have a safe pregnancy. Noted. I have a specific genetic condition, so if I did get pregnant, there's a 97% chance that either me, the baby, or both of us don't survive. Whoa. That's nerve-wracking. No wonder you don't want kids. I mean, in addition to all of the other things, like, this is why you never, press the whole kid thing on people. Just stop asking. It's none of your business, okay? You don't know what's going on inside the wombs, all right? or the heads. It might be a sore topic for me, but after talking about it in therapy, it's something I'm very open about when it's brought up. Okay, serious part over, on to the story. I'm sorry to hear that, OP. I've been working at my job for 3 years, and it's a small, tight-knit group. Think moms and pops. Everyone's a nepo hire, type small, so I'm close with all my coworkers and consider them friends. We have work game nights, hang out outside of work, and talk out any conflicts. Normally, I cringe when people say that their company's like a family, but it really does feel like one. As far as I know, I'm the only one that doesn't want children, and I'm more than happy to explain why if asked. My coworkers know my situation, and most are understanding, except Rose. Rose, late 40s, is a mother of 2, and she's a very sweet person. We get along great and have a lot of fun. However, when the subject of kids is mentioned, she makes condescending comments to me like,
You'll understand when you have kids.
No, I don't think I will.
People also make this comment toward me. This is why I've said in a previous video that like motherhood is literally a dick swinging contest for women.
Yeah, well, I didn't do the epidural. I did all natural. Like, yeah, well, I'm sending my kids to private school when they're 3 years old. Yeah, well, I bought a bouncy castle.
Like, shut the up. Shut up. There's always this like underlying like,
Yeah, well, that's not my choice. Like, you can make that choice as a mother, but that's not my choice.
Where's my choice?
shut up. So she says things like, you'll understand when you have kids, or I don't know why you don't want kids. They are a woman's biggest achievement in life. Okay. Listen.
Linda, listen. Linda.
I think that having kids is one of the greatest achievements in life for a woman. I genuinely do feel that way. Is it the greatest achievement? Depends on the kids. Depends on the other achievements. You know what I'm saying? Like, I also somewhat feel that this remark about,
Well, it's the greatest achievement.
it's kind of, there's an underbelly of like,
You're not going to achieve anything until you become a mother. Like, your achievements don't matter. Your problems don't matter until you're a mother.
and I understand that it comes from like your priorities shift when you become a mother. And I totally understand that. But I don't think that it's fair to imply that a woman who doesn't have children, her experiences don't matter. Her achievements don't matter. I'm very passionate about this subject. I'm very excited to be a mother if and when I become blessed with that. However, I don't think that I will ever I can't picture myself saying like,
Honestly, your problems don't matter. Like, when you become a mom, nothing matters. Only your kids matter.
I'm sure that they matter a lot. Is it the only thing that matters? No. I've told her several times I don't appreciate those types of comments, and I've told her why many times without going into detail about my medical condition. Now, my lovelies, the kettle has boiled, so here's the tea. Last week, I was having a rough day at work, lots of creeps and rude customers, so my patience was already very thin. During a slow moment, Rose and I were talking about the trip she took with her kids, and she said,
I can't wait until you get pregnant. I think you would make a great mom.
while I'm flattered that I come across that way, it still makes me feel like she doesn't see me as anything but somebody whose only goal should be to pop a screaming watermelon out of my body. I respond lightheartedly with, I'd rather be the cool wine aunt than a mom. Kids just aren't in the cards for me. She laughed, waved me off, and said, now you've done it. You've just cursed yourself. You'll definitely have twins in a couple of years, especially if you keep talking like that.
Do I sense a little jealousy there?
I, overwhelmed, overstimulated, and fed up, looked at Rose in an annoyed voice. I said, if I ever did get pregnant, one of 3 things would happen. I wouldn't survive, my baby wouldn't survive, or we both wouldn't survive. That is not an exaggeration. That is the fact of my medical condition. Please stop telling me I will have kids because I physically can't and don't want them. Then I walked away to calm down, drink my coffee, and recenter myself before returning to work. I never raised my voice or used any bad language despite my Scottish ancestors begging me to sound like a sailor. Unless someone expresses to you that they want children and that they're like trying, like even if they're trying, like you don't know what's going on. Maybe they're having issues getting pregnant, like maybe their husband like or partner can't,
Sometimes you're just shooting blank.
You don't know what's going on. It's really none of your business. And I think that especially if someone has expressed to you that like this is not a topic that you should keep bringing up, they shouldn't have to say all this, right? It's 2026, okay? I think like 1 in 3 couples have difficulties conceiving. So just mind your business. After that, Rose avoided me like the plague and being distant towards me. Okay, so no apology. While she wasn't ever rude to me, something definitely changed between us. When I told my best friend, another coworker, about what happened, she said she did agree that Rose was out of line. However, I shouldn't have been so blunt about my medical issues, especially because I know how Rose is about traditional values. That friend can f off. It wasn't harsh at all. Like, you were trying to just get her off your back. And honestly, I hope she learns a lesson, because like, you shouldn't be talking about that, especially with someone who's expressed to you over and over that you're not interested in having kids. I don't know if I was way too harsh, if there was a way I could have worded it better. I know I was angry, tired of the constant comments, but my partner is on my side. And they are being super supportive. They know I binge watch a lot of Charlotte, and I might get more insight or peace of mind from an outside perspective. So now the tea has been spilled. Am I the a-hole for snapping at my coworker about why I don't want kids? I honestly would have done the same thing. And I get that she wasn't rude to you, but like, I am quite sensitive, like, especially since like, you know, everybody's kind of telling me like, you need to have kids, like, get on it. Like, you're 36. Like, have kids. I'm very sensitive to this like narrative that like I need to do that like right now. Believe me, I feel the pressure, okay? Like, I do feel the pressure, but I also don't appreciate that like I don't appreciate the comments. I don't appreciate the dick measuring contest. I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to go about getting pregnant. I think that everybody makes choices based on what's right for them. It's honestly none of anybody's business.
Nosy and all in my business.
Yeah, sorry. I'm a little salty about this. It bothers me only because like I'm around a lot of people who are my age that recently had children, and some of the comments can be very condescending and I don't appreciate it. Edit. I know everyone is saying this, but I honestly didn't expect this to get a lot of attention. So she wants to address some of the top questions and comments. 1, she has been aware of my medical condition for a long time because she asked me about it during my first few months of working there. What the f? I thought she didn't know about it. That's even worse. Then honestly, like, I understand that she's always been nice to you, but why the f are you saying like that if you know that someone has a medical condition? I'm sorry. I'm so upset for you, OP. Like, this is so irritating. She seemed like she wanted to know the details and would tell me she wouldn't make those types of comments anymore. Normally, I just brush her off with things like, no thanks, I like living. Wow. Then I fail to see any other reason to be condescending about it. I fail to see any reason why she's talking to you that way and asking you things and like pushing it on you other than to be like weird and condescending. We don't have a real HR because of how small we are, but Rose is technically our HR person. So I can't really report Rose to Rose, but then I'd be really sinking my own ship. 3, because of the job field I'm in, we don't have management. Everyone has their own specialties and areas of expertise. I specialize in collectible investments while Rose specializes in wearable investments.
500 is the best I could do, buddy.
Our boss has the mindset of work it out together because we're all adults here and just get thicker skin. Personally, I think he's an extreme people pleaser and doesn't want to be involved. I really just wish that Rose had like apologize to you. I feel like maybe there's a way that you could open up a conversation, like a dialogue with her. Just be like, hey, like, I don't know if my tone upset you or something, but like, I have to like let you know that these comments that you're making are a sore spot for me. I'm not joking when I tell you that I don't want you to talk about it with me anymore. Please do not speak to me in that manner anymore. You know, that way you kind of give an inch of like, like I could have said it better, whatever. I think that if she still doesn't apologize, Rose is like a lost cause. Thank you so much for all the support. I appreciate everyone that shared their stories. This is truly a great community and y'all have really helped me put things in perspective. I'm just going to be treating her like nothing happened and keep being my sparkling self. Even if sometimes I want that spark to light a petty fire under people's behinds. If anything happens from this, I will update. I only say like maybe there could be like some sort of conversation because you guys work in close proximity with one another. And like it's mostly, I feel most of the time that sometimes it's better just to like, it's not to be the bigger person, just to like kind of admit that maybe you could have handled things a little bit better, just to like move on. This high and mighty thing about like, I'm not going to apologize. It's whatever, you know, like it's whatever. If it could get you guys to a point where you're like talking again and she would apologize too, maybe this could be like a growth moment for her and you. I'm guessing most people in the comments are like, you're not responsible for her feelings. I agree to a certain extent, but it's like, you know, she still has to see this person every day. Not the a-hole. She repeatedly made comments and stuck her nose into your business. She got exactly what she deserved. Now she's mad because she's embarrassed. Let her be. Maybe it will teach her not to be so nosy. Not the a-hole. People like Rose should be learned to keep quiet and not assume every woman are able to have kids. Don't feel bad. Maybe she should learn to be more aware. Yeah, I think in this day and age, just be really careful about like saying stuff like this with regards to pregnancy. As someone who is at that age where my friends are getting pregnant or not getting pregnant, I can tell you 1 in 3 women have issues getting pregnant. I don't know if it's just my circle of friends or not, but like I feel like it's almost at some points half and half. Some people get pregnant literally right away, and some people it takes literally years. And then they also need help with IVF. Even that doesn't work. Just be like really careful, okay? And definitely like let's stop making these comments of like,
it's your greatest accomplishment. It will be your greatest accomplishment.
okay, so but then what if that person can't have kids? Then they don't have any accomplishments? Their accomplishments don't matter? You are not the a-hole. Would I be the a-hole if I tell HR about my past with a new coworker? Okay, what kind of past? Like a spicy past? Were they your bully? Do tell.
Spill the tea.
I, 34 male, am a lead developer on a team of mid-sized SaaS company.
I don't know what any of those words mean.
Let's look it up and do our research. Software as a service. A cloud-based software model where applications are hosted on remote servers by vendors and accessed by its users over the internet, typically via a web browser. Okay?
Yeah, I didn't clear anything up.
So the company has around 100 or so employees. Basically, we are large enough that there are employees we can see, recognize, but not necessarily know their names. Recently, we had a new hire, Krista, 33 female, who joined the project management part of the project I am working on. I have a history with Krista from college. What kind of history? In college, I was a lot more in my own shell. I didn't really treat myself well and was very much the introverted nerd, down to bad posture and poor fashion sense. Krista, she did have quite a few friends in college, but at least in my view, she wasn't super popular, but was well liked and was conventionally attractive. We shared a few classes together, and one day she asked me for some help on an assignment. I helped her on it and we talked, and from the sound of things, she seemed genuinely friendly to me. I helped her on a few more assignments, and finally she asked me if I wanted to meet her after class at a coffee shop and talk. I said sure, and when I got there, Krista was nowhere in sight. Yeah, it was either one of two things, most likely. 1, you had a romantic history. 2, she was a bully. I waited about 20 minutes before I called her. She answered and started laughing, and I heard several other voices laughing. Krista saying something like, "Why would I want to date a fat loser like you?" Looked out from the window of the shop and saw one of Krista's friends holding up her camera phone, and it looked like she was recording. That is so up. How horrible. It's not like you asked her out. She asked you, and you helped her. I hardly think that she would have even passed the class without your help. Next few weeks, there were jokes about me, flyers with my face from the coffee shop vid plastered up with creep in bold letters on top. Kept my head down, and within a month, the next big thing popped up on campus and I was forgotten. Didn't stop Krista and her friends from going,
"Ew, creep,"
when they saw me, but I guess for the rest of campus, it got old, so I never got accused of anything or even really ostracized by the rest of the student body. I'm so sorry that you went through that. That is so mean. Even just the fact that you helped her so much. This is why when you go through life, you need to be super, super careful about how you treat others. More often than not, the weirdo ends up being someone noteworthy who might be calling the shots. Honestly, especially the weirdos, especially the smart weirdos who always end up being the ones that are bullied, are the ones that end up earning the most money, having a massive glow up later in life. Be careful. Treat people with respect, and they'll remember you, but they will also remember if you treat them with disrespect. After college, I did learn about self-care a bit better. Plus, I usually am with other programmers, so I don't really stand out as a social outcast. When Krista was introduced to our team, I don't think she recognized me, And it's only been a week, but I wanted to know if bringing up the college incident is even worth it for HR. Most of my rational brain really wants to just let this go, treat Krista as a new person, and get on with me. But I have a small fear that she might tell a skewed version of the college events and sour the team I'm on against me. It's interesting that she was making fun of like the smart kid in class and now works in an environment that's probably full of people like that. So I should at least disclose to HR in case she does start telling tales and I have recourse. Would I be the a-hole if I told HR about my past with Krista? I mean, I totally get that you have genuine concerns about her kind of changing the narrative, and it could blow back on you. If she keeps going with this like, he's a creep narrative, that can really f up your life. Especially like if you haven't done anything either. I'm really not the best person to ask about this because like I'm so petty when it comes to bullies. Like, dude, I can't. I would be like, yeah, I would for sure tell them. Like, I genuinely don't think that people change all that much. If you have that kind of cruelty in you as a human being, I don't know if you change that much. I genuinely think that if you've been cruel like that to someone, and she's not even a kid either, this was in university, like college, your brain's developed, my guy. It gets really old in college to be still doing this kind of thing. I just genuinely don't think that people change all that much. But furthermore, I think that if you were the type of person to do that when you were younger, you should also be the type of person to apologize to those who you have hurt. I think that you wouldn't even be thinking twice about this if she hadn't like reached out to you and like been like, hey, like I know what I did was like super terrible to you and it probably hurt you a lot and you don't have to accept my apology, but I just want to say like I'm really sorry. I think that if she had done that, you would feel differently, but she hasn't. And I also think it's funny that she was even able to get a job at a place like this, especially since you've been helping her. You were helping her with her assignments and probably helped her graduate. So like, that's nasty. To turn on somebody who you need in order to pass a class and bully them, you should report it and have it documented so she can't turn anything around on you. I'd also ask if she can be put onto another project. Yeah. I agree. I wouldn't give HR too many details unless they ask. That's the part, right? What if it comes out, you know, the creep narrative comes out? Yeah, I'd be careful about how many details you share. I would just let them know she previously bullied and harassed you. We do have an update. Yeah! Yeah! Yesterday, some things happened. Some bad, mostly good. There were mixed responses, most telling me to tell, but one HR professional saying I shouldn't. Due to mixed messaging, I did consult a local employment lawyer. That lawyer told me I should make HR aware of the past I have with Krista, but make it clear that there was never anything disciplinary acted upon me in college. Ooh, that's good. He asked if my job had a copy of my transcript, and I verified that it did. Lawyer asked if there were any third parties that would verify the harassment and see if I could get their names and contact details if needed. I knew 2 people back in college that I still had on my LinkedIn and was certain they would tell the truth, so we're good there. Lawyer told me to just request a meeting with HR and my supervisor and say there was a past with Krista. There was never any charges or disciplinary action, and I have 2 witnesses if they ever need verification. So that's what I did. Friday morning, I came into office and sent HR and my supervisor an email requesting a formal meeting at 10 a.m. My supervisor came to my desk and asked if everything was okay, and wanted to make sure I was happy. I told him everything was fine, I wasn't leaving, and it wasn't anything to do with him or the team. He seemed relieved, and by 10 a.m., we rolled into the conference room with the HR officer. I thanked them both for taking the time out of their day to meet me. And then I did as my lawyer instructed. I said the new project manager, Krista, was someone I went to college with. She participated in harassment of me in college, detailed how I never had any charges or disciplinary action, and that I had 2 independent witnesses who saw the harassment and gave their contact info. My supervisor seemed shocked, and the HR officer went through the info I gave her for a minute, and then the 2 of them talked. Finally, Krista was called in. I'm on the edge of my seat. I am sat.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
When Krista walked into the conference room and saw me, HR, and the team supervisor, she seemed shocked. HR started with something like, "We have been told you 2 have a past." Krista sat down and looked pretty shocked throughout. She did admit to the bullying, but tried to reframe it as a misunderstanding repeatedly. I'm sorry, I failed to understand how that's a misunderstanding. I'm misunderstanding how that's a misunderstanding. Seems pretty cut and dry to me. She never outright said what the bullying was, but then she was told that since this was an incident in both our pasts, that nobody wants it brought up again, that it should stay dead. HR made it clear that this is not to be a funny water cooler story to share. Krista and I both agreed to that, but Krista still looked shaken. Noon was coming up right when the meeting was wrapping up. My supervisor and HR again reiterated none of us is to breathe a word about the college incident. The first thing Krista's gonna do is try to get as many people on her side as possible. We're professionals and we're here to do a job. I went to the break room for lunch and I actually felt like my appetite had finally returned. The last few days were stress starving me, to be honest. I sat at a table with the rest of the development team and we started eating. Halfway through my sandwich, another coworker, Sandy, 30 female, came by and said,
So, I heard an interesting story yesterday about you and Krista.
With a big grin on her face. She didn't get further because my supervisor was at our table, stood up and pointed to Sandy and across the room at Krista and said, "You two, conference room now."
Goody.
I wasn't privy to what happened in the conference room, but I did see the HR officer go into the room 2 minutes later, looking pretty pissed and with a mustard stain on her shirt. I guess she got the call and was interrupted during lunch. Not sure what went on. The rest of my team asked what it was. I said I have no idea and just kept eating. 5 minutes later, 2 more coworkers on other parts of the project were brought into the conference room. See what I mean about people not really changing when they're that cruel?
I'm always right about everything.
Lunch ended and we went back to work, but speculation was high. It wasn't until 3 that the conference room finally emptied. Krista looked like she was crying, and the others that were in the room with her seemed to treat her quite coldly. Not sure what this will mean, but it appears for now, Krista's still working here. But I appreciate the lengths HR and my supervisor are taking to ensure this won't blow up further. I'm really curious about what she said to Sandy. And that's crazy that the first thing that Sandy did was like,
Oh, by the way, like I heard about you and Krista.
okay, what do you mean? You two, conference room, now. I actually smirked like the Grinch. I think I did too.
Goody.
It is awesome that your HR department acted so quickly. It's obvious that Krista hasn't grown up even a little bit since college. Well, okay, let's look at this, okay? Krista's a new hire, and OP is someone that's pretty instrumental to this company. He's way higher value. And I also agree she hasn't grown up since college. Like, she's clearly still gossiping, even though she knows she's not supposed to. I genuinely don't think that people change, especially when they don't apologize. I've been known to accept an apology, even though, like, I never see these people again. But I've been known to accept an apology from people who have hurt me in the past. But I've also been known to still feel like, how can I put this nicely? Don't change. I genuinely think that if you're that type of person, that's your personality. So I think as of right now, it's interesting that Krista is still working there, but she definitely has had like a warning. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends with Krista getting fired, because we actually do have another update. My Grinch smile. Monday wasn't a show, so that was good. My supervisor and the HR officer did bring everyone on the team into the big conference room for the HR officer and said we are a professional company, and while we do have fun, there are company outings like golf, bowling, main event, we are to be strictly professional and not gossip about other coworkers' personal lives. Sandy and the other 2 coworkers who were brought into the conference room Friday looked pretty ashamed during this. Krista was sitting at the other end of the conference room table, and there seemed to be a noticeable distance between her and the other employees. My supervisor said he wants to consider this matter closed and for us to get back to offering great solutions to our clients.
It comes down to shareholder value.
Everyone filed out of the conference room and went back to work. Lunch on Monday was pretty tense, but Tuesday management had a local Mexican place bring in Taco Tuesday for us, and the mood improved considerably. I don't gossip, but I did hear murmurs that Krista is now on her final warning and put on a performance improvement plan, all within her first 2 weeks. Not sure how true these rumors are, but with how isolated Krista now appears to be from the rest of the team, it's clear that everyone else is not willing to socialize with her beyond their work functions. I considered this matter closed myself, and if Krista worked hard and got her redemption arc, I'd have been fine with it. But then last night happened. I'm hungry. I'm hungry for drama. Anyone else hear my tummy? I'm excited. Not sure where Krista got my address. Okay. But she was outside my house last night, and luckily my doorbell camera caught it, so I can accurately transcribe it. She rung and asked if we could talk. I said through the digital doorbell there was nothing to talk about and she better leave because this is now harassment. Yeah, that sounds like the third strike. She pleaded for me to come outside and discuss it. I declined and emphasized she's not welcome. She then said she had a crush on me in college, that her friends found out. She asked me to coffee and pressured her to turn it into a harassment campaign, and she was afraid of them disowning her for a guy like me.
Oh yeah, I like you so much, and I'm embarrassed of you, so I just harassed you and bullied you because I was afraid that everybody would think I was, like, a loser.
I fail to understand how that makes this any better. In fact, I feel like this makes it worse. Like, you liked him and you still acted that way? Dude. Guys, I wanted to laugh so hard. I was socially awkward back in college, but even I knew this was bullshit. Hell, I wasn't even interested in Krista for a date. I thought she wanted to be my friend. I told her I didn't care what she has to say, she has to leave. I still have yet to hear an apology from her. She told me I could just ask Sandy what she told her and it would clear this all up. Krista could have told Sandy a lie. I declined and said this matter in the office is closed. Krista finally made an exaggerated sigh and walked off. I took the video recording from the doorbell and sent it to the employment lawyer and will give it to my supervisor and HR today. I will be shocked if she lasts longer than this Friday now. Wow. Yeah, and still all that and no apology.
I had this, really big crush on you, and, my friends were, calling me a loser because I liked you, and you were kind of, weird, so I just, bullied you. I hope that makes things better.
It doesn't. We have one final satisfying update. Krista got fired. I didn't even have to send HR the doorbell cam vid, but I did send it to the lawyer I was talking to. Lawyer is drafting a cease and desist and potentially a restraining order if needed.
Get off my lawn!
Krista somehow got my address from someone in IT. The IT new hire is suspended because of this data breach, and everyone got a memo about data security yesterday morning. Wow, this girl just causes so much trouble. Way more trouble than she's worth. Including the usual about phishing scams. Krista's desk was empty when I came in yesterday morning, and since I'm taking the necessary legal steps, I'm considering this matter closed. As am I. Honestly, that was one of the most satisfying stories I've read in a really long time. I'm living vicariously through you, OP. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you. Subscribe!